What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in with What It Do with Big Lou. NFZR2, baby, baby. And if it's the first time you're coming to the channel, it'd be highly appreciated if you sub, liked, and shared the channel with your family, friends, folks, peoples, gente, associates, associos, comrades, camaradas, amigos, buddy pals. And feel free to comment. I respond back to all the comments, as you guys already know. Uh, As you can tell from that thumbnail, I'm back to the profiles of sports figures from football, baseball, basketball, boxing, and pro wrestling of the 80s. Because if you guys are, like I said, the first time you come to the channel, roughly 84-ish, 85-ish is when I started getting into like sports and starting to know who was who, what was what. And probably out of those sports, pro wrestling came first, and then baseball, and then I say football, and then basketball. Definitely, I got big with basketball in the late 80s, like where I started learning more on, just more general on like colleges and stuff like that. I never was a college baseball guy, never. I couldn't even tell you where guys went to school. There's a couple guys I know, you know what I'm saying, but for the most part, not good at all. Um, so this profile, as you can tell from the thumbnail, is Roger Mayweather, uncle to Floyd Mayweather Jr., who recently passed away not too long ago, R.I.P. Roger Mayweather, and Pernell Sweet Pete Whitaker, who also passed away not too long ago. Prayers and thoughts out to the Whitaker family as well. So let's get into this little profile, um, starting with Mayweather because he's older, right? So Roger Mayweather was born on April 24th, 1961, and he passed away March 17th, 2020. Um, He competed from 1981 to 1999. He was a two-division world champion, having held the WBA and ring super featherweight titles from 83 to 84, the WBC light welterweight title from 87 to 89, and additionally he held the IBO light welterweight title in 94 and the IBO welterweight title in 94 and 95. For those that don't know, the IBO is not considered a major world title. The only ones that are major world titles are the WBC, the WBA Super, the IBF, and the WBO, no matter what weight class. But I think when it comes to the WBA regular, that's a little bit different in my book. I believe that's the actual title. But the IBOs, the IBCs, the WBC, or excuse me, the IBOs, the IBCs, and is there another one? WBU. Those are not considered major world titles. Um, his nickname was the Black Mamba, and he fought at super featherweight, lightweight, junior welterweight, and welterweight. He stood at 5'7.5" with the 73.5 reach. He was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, like I mentioned, on April 24, 1961, and he passed away in Las Vegas on March 17, 2020. And he was 58 years old when he passed. He has his boxing record is 72 total fights with 59 wins, 35 of those wins coming by way of knockout, and 13 losses. He was born, he's the son of Bernice Ambrose and Theartha Mayweather. As everybody knows, he's part of the Mayweather family, nepotism in boxing, right? It was him, his brother Floyd Sr., and Jeff Mayweather. They were boxers, but none of them had nothing on Pretty Boy Floyd, which was Junior, right? Junior trained Junior Floyd Jr. for many years, over a decade. I know that. And so he started boxing professionally. He was 64-4 as amateur. I don't know if you guys watched that Pritchard Colon video I dropped. Um, he only had 17 amateur bouts, and like I said, a lot of guys have big, extensive amateur careers. So Mayweather was 64-4 with 68 fights. So that's getting up there. It's not like some of these guys who have 200 plus fights. He made his professional debut on July 29, 1981, and he fought Andrew Ruiz. He won by TKO in the first round. Um, And then in his 13th fight, he fought for the IBF the IBF USBA lightweight title when he beat. He was up against Ruben Munoz Jr. He beat him. Let's see. After improving his record to 14-0, Mayweather earned a title shot on January 19, 1983, against lineal champion and WBA super featherweight champion Samuel Serrano. Serrano entered the bout with a record of 49 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw, and had only lost once since winning the title in 1976. Nonetheless, Mayweather led on all 3 judges' scorecards before he beat Serrano by TKO in the 8th round and effectively ended Serrano's career. Mayweather made 2 successful title defenses against Jorge Alvarado and Benedicto Villablanca before suffering his first loss via first round knockout against Rocky Lockridge on February 22nd, 1984. Mayweather won the IBF USBA super featherweight title when he gave Kenny Bazemore his first loss by a TKO in the 3rd round. Thus, Mayweather earned the opportunity to fight WBC super featherweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. on July 7, 1985. Although Mayweather won the first round on judges' scorecards, he was knocked down twice in the round 2 and lost by TKO. On November 28, 1986, Roger Mayweather beat Sammy Fuentes for the WBC Continental Americas lightweight title. And then in his next bout, March 28, 1987, he fought Pernell Whitaker, the other profile on this video, Sweet Pete, for the WBC NABF lightweight title. Mayweather was knocked down in round 1, but he knocked down Whitaker in round 9. Whitaker won by unanimous decision. Junior welterweight. After Mayweather moved up to the junior welterweight division, he fought WBC junior welterweight champion Rene Arredondo on November 12, 1987. Mayweather led on the scorecards and knocked down Arredondo 3 times in round 6 to win by TKO. Mayweather made 4 successful title defenses before he encountered Mexican champion Julio Cesar Chavez again on May 13, 1989. Prior to this fight, Mayweather was being called by several boxing writers as a Mexican assassin due to his numerous wins over Mexican fighters during the last few years. Also, when he used to enter the ring, he used to wear the big charra, which is the mariachi hats that mariachis wear, the big hats. Chavez was still undefeated at the time with a record of 63-0. He was becoming a legend. Mayweather retired after round 10 due to body damage inflicted by Chavez. Chavez was mean with the body shots, body punches, right? So that was in 1989. So that ends that decade of the 80s, which these profiles are about. But I'm going to go ahead and go into a little bit more because this is very early 90s. So Mayweather won the WBA Americas Junior welterweight title on April 5th, 1990, from Ildemar Paisan. He fought Rafael Pineda for the vacant IBF Junior welterweight title on December 7, 91, but he lost by KO in the first round. On March 14, 1993, Mayweather beat former WBA lightweight champion Livingston Bramble by corner stoppage in round 5. Bramble had defeated Ray Boom Boom Mancini twice for the title in the mid-80s. Mayweather defeated Eduardo Montes for the IBO junior welterweight title by a 3rd round KO on May 28, 94. Less than 3 weeks later, he defeated Marco Antonio Ramirez by TKO in round 3. And then he goes up to welterweight. In his next bout, he fights Johnny Bizarro on August 4th, 94. Mayweather won the IBO welterweight title by unanimous decision. He defended the belt once in 95. On June 95, Mayweather fought the 14-0 Casazu for the IBF junior welterweight title. Casazu won by unanimous decision. Mayweather won his last title, the IBA welterweight title, on March 12, 97, when he beat Carlos Miranda on the 12th round TKO. Mayweather's final bout was a majority decision over Javier Francisco Mendez on May 8, 1999. He ended his career with a total of 9 major and minor titles in 4 weight classes. Let's talk a little bit about the Black Mamba, where he gets that from, right? When asked about his nickname, Rogers says, "It's funny because I wanted a boxing nickname that wouldn't be common to most people. One day when I was flipping through channels and I came upon this channel showing different reptiles, and they were showing the Black Mamba, one of the most deadly snakes in the world. I loved the way the Mamba attacked so quickly, but when he hit you, he just hit you one time and the poison was in you." That reminded me of myself right there. So that's how he got that nickname. Training career, he trained his nephew Floyd Jr., who turned pro in '96. Roger turned his attention away from his own competitive boxing career and focused more on being his younger Mayweather's trainer. Roger trained Floyd Jr. until '98 when Mayweather Sr. was released from prison and became Mayweather Jr.'s trainer. However, soon after Mayweather defeated Gregorio Vargas on March 18, 2000, Mayweather Jr. fired Sr. as his trainer and brought back Uncle Roger. Roger garnered national attention during and after Mayweather Jr. versus Ab Judah on April 8, 2006. Near the conclusion of the 10th round, Judah hit Mayweather with a left hand that was clearly below the belt, followed up with a right-handed rabbit punch. After referee Richard Steele called time with 5 seconds remaining in the round, Roger entered the ring but was restrained by Steele. Judah's father and trainer Joel Judah entered the ring and swung at Roger. Zab then went after Roger, taking a swing and grappling with him until security broke it up and cleared the ring. Roger was ejected, but the boxers finished the remaining 2 rounds. Mayweather won by unanimous decision. 5 days after the fight, the Nevada State Athletic Commission decided not to overturn the result of the bout, but Roger was fined $200,000 and suspended for a year. Damn, that was a big ass suspension there. Um, Mayweather was arrested in August 2009 in Vegas for allegedly attacking one of his former boxers, female Melissa St. Ville. Mayweather allegedly hit her several times in the ribs and tried to choke her, causing her to spit up blood when police arrived. I shouldn't even have. I forgot about it. I wrote that down. I don't know why. I wasn't thinking about. Excuse me. I didn't write that down, and then right now when I was reading something, I wasn't supposed. I shouldn't have read that. Anyways, I apologize, people, because this is more like shining light on them than throwing smut on them. But Mayweather died on March 17, 2020 in Vegas at age 58 after years of deteriorating health. Floyd opened up about Rogers' health back in 2015 and thinks that boxing is the main cause of it. He did not specify the case, but said his uncle's health was failing him for several years. Roger Mayweather had a number of long-term health problems, including diabetes. My uncle Roger has lost a lot of memory from the sport of boxing. He's only in his 50s, but it seems like he's an old man in his 80s, Floyd said. And then these are some of the guys, big name guys he's fought over the years. Casasu, Ray Lovato, Miguel Gonzalez, Livingston Bramble, Rafael Pineda, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. twice, Vinny Pazienza, Rene Arredondo, Pernell Whitaker, Sammy Fuentes, Freddie Pendleton, Kenny Bazemore, Rocky Lockridge, Sammy Serrano. Those are some of the guys he's fought. Mayweather was a pretty good boxer. He had his up and downs in his life, but the father, Floyd Sr., they would bump heads, and I even heard clips of Floyd Jr. talking about telling his dad, "You weren't even a real champion. My Uncle Roger was the real champion. My Uncle Roger was the one that trained me." So I don't know. Those are kind of some hurtful words, I guess. Because here the father comes out, but then sometimes people have the wrong agendas. They only come out to help because they're gonna get bread. You know what I mean? They're gonna get breaded out. Because we all know Floyd takes care of his family. You know what I mean? So it is what it is on that one. You know what I mean? Um, um, Pernell Whitaker though was definitely is who we're gonna speak about now. He has a lot of well, I'll get to it now. So he was born January 2nd, 1964. He passed away July 14th, 2019. Um, Sweet Pete was his nickname. He competed in the lightweight division, the junior welterweight, and junior middleweight. Stood 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. He was born in Norfolk, Virginia, and he passed away in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He was only 55 years old. Southpaw. 46 total fights with 40 wins, 17 by way of knockout, 4 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. He has two gold medals, one from the '84 Olympics and then Pan American Games from Caracas, Venezuela, gold medal, and then he has a silver from '82 World Championships, Munich, Germany. As an amateur, Whitaker won a silver medal in the lightweight division at the '82 Championships, which I already mentioned that. He also has um, he retired in '01, and Ring Magazine ranked him 10th in their list of the 100 greatest fighters of the last 80 years. And in 2006, he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Lightweight in just his 11th and 12th pro bouts, Whitaker defeated former world champion Alfredo Lane on December 20th, 1986, and former WBA and lineal super featherweight and WBC junior welterweight title holder Roger Mayweather on March 28, 87. Whitaker won both bouts before hometown crowds in Norfolk Scope, less than a mile from where he lived as a child in the Norfolk housing projects. Whitaker would fight 9 times in the Scope Arena during his career. That's cool too. Getting to fight where you're from 9 times out of 40 whatever fights. That's hella cool. On it's not like like Danny Garcia, for example. He calls the Barclays Center his home away from home. It's like his number 2 home after Philadelphia. But this guy's actually fighting in his home state and in his hometown city. On March 12, 1988, he challenged Jose Luis Ramirez for the WBC lightweight title in France. He suffered his first pro defeat when the judges awarded a split decision to Ramirez. Undisputed lightweight champion Whitaker trudged on, winning a decision over Greg Haugen for the IBF lightweight title on February 18, 1989, becoming the first boxer to knock Haugen down by sending him to the mat in the 6th round. He then added the vacant WBC and the ring belts by avenging his loss to Ramirez on August 12th. Now a champion, Whitaker proceeded to dominate boxing's middle divisions over the first half of the 90s. In 1990, he defended his lightweight title against future champion Freddie Pendleton and super featherweight champion Azuma Nelson of Ghana. On August 11th, 1990, he knocked out Juan Nazario in the first round to win the WBA and vacant lineal lightweight titles, becoming the first undisputed lightweight champion since Roberto Duran. His highlight of 1991 was a win over Jorge Paez and a fight against European champion Poli Diaz that ended in another win. The IBF junior welterweight champion in '92, he began his ascent in weight, winning the IBF junior welterweight title from Colombian puncher Rafael Pineda on July 18th. The WBC and the lineal welterweight champion on March 6, 1993, he decisioned Buddy McGirt to become the lineal and WBC welterweight champion. Whitaker was gaining momentum, and boxing experts and fans felt that he needed to win against the pound-for-pound best boxer in the world, Julio Cesar Chavez. The two met in a welterweight super fight, simply named The Fight, on September 10, 1993, in San Antonio, Texas. In the eyes of many, many of the spectators, Whitaker outboxed the Mexican legend. However, 2 of the 3 judges saw an even bout, with the other judge scored in favor of Whitaker, resulting in a majority draw. Whitaker continued on to dominate for the next few years, defeating his welterweight title in a rematch against McGirt on October 1st, 1994. In his next fight on March 4th, 1995, Whitaker added Julio Cesar Vasquez's WBA super welterweight title in his collection. Although Whitaker suffered a flash knockdown early on in the fight, he basically um, faced no real trouble against Vasquez en route to the win. This was history-making fight for Whitaker, as he became only the fourth fighter in history, joining Thomas Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Roberto Duran, to have won a legitimate world title in 4 different weight classes. However, he chose to move back to welterweight. Whitaker successfully defended his WBC belt against Scotland's Gary Jacobs on August 26, 1995. In January 97, Whitaker put his title on the line against Cuban fighter Hurtado. Hurtado gave Whitaker all he could handle, and then some. Hurtado had Whitaker down on all judges' scorecards going into the 11th round. Hurtado scored flash knockdowns against Whitaker in rounds 1, 6, and Whitaker had a point deducted in the 9th round for hitting Hurtado behind the head. But midway through the 11th round, Whitaker landed a left hook that hurt Hurtado, and in a rare display of aggression and power, unleashed a barrage of left-handed power shots, pummeling Hurtado into the ropes, knocking Hurtado out and almost completely out of the ring before Arthur Merchant Jr. stopped the fight at a minute 52 mark, giving Whitaker the comeback from behind TKO win. The win set up a showdown and undefeated 92 gold medalist Oscar De La Hoya. He met De La Hoya on April 12, 97 in Vegas. Whitaker, defending his WBC championship and mythical status as the best in the world in boxing, pound for pound, succeeded in making De La Hoya look bad through his crafty defense. But he was unable to mount a sufficient offense to convince the judges. Whitaker was awarded an official knockdown in the 9th round, and according to CompuBox stats, outlanded De La Hoya in overall punches and connect percentages, using the jab as his primary weapon. But De La Hoya threw and landed almost twice as many power punches and a slightly higher power punch connect percentage than Whitaker, which may have been the key factor in De La Hoya winning it by disputed unanimous decision. On the end of the night, the judges scored where it was 111, 115, 110, 116, and 110, 16. For his part, De La Hoya wasn't too pleased with his own performance against Whitaker and had hinted at a possible rematch to prove that he could do better against him. But Arum, De La Hoya's promoter at the time, decided against it. Whitaker's next bout was against Russian-born fighter Andrei Pestryayev in a title elimination fight where the winner would earn an automatically #1 contender spot for the WBA welterweight crown held at the time by Ike Corte. Whitaker originally won the fight, but the win was nullified and changed to a no decision after he failed a post-drug test. Whitaker was suspended for 6 months, but the commission lifted the suspension after he agreed to a random testing, and his title bout with Corte was to proceed as scheduled. However, the bout was canceled after Whitaker tested positive a second time. And then on February 20, 1999, Whitaker suffered his first convincing defeat against the much bigger, much fresher Tito Trinidad, gamely taking the Puerto Rican the distance in an attempt to win Trinidad's IBF welterweight title. The fight began with both boxers displaying aggressive styles, which included excessive pushing. In the following rounds, both boxers used their jab most of the time, with Trinidad gaining an advantage when Whitaker attempted to attack inside, eventually scoring a knockdown in round 2. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds, the fighters exchanged combinations. Later in the fight, both boxers fell to the canvas in what were ruled as accidental slips. In the 7th round, Whitaker displayed more offense, trading power punches with Trinidad, but the champion retained control of the fight's tempo during the 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds. In the last round, Whitaker, with a badly swollen right eye, displayed a purely defensive stance, avoiding his opponent throughout the round, while Trinidad continued on the offense until the fight concluded. The judges gave the champion scores of 117, 111, 118, 109, and 118, 109. His last fight came on April 27, 2001 against journeyman Carlos Bororquez. Whitaker, the former lightweight, entered the ring at 155. He broke his clavicle in round 4 and was forced to retire. At the time of the stoppage, Whitaker was trailing in all judges' scorecards 28-29. Following this fight, Whitaker officially announced his retirement. He finished his professional career with an official record of 40 wins, 4 losses, and 1 no contest, or 1 draw, 17 knockouts. In 2002, the ring ranked Whitaker as the 10th greatest fighter of the last 80 years. And then he was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame along with contemporaries Roberto Duran and Ricardo Lopez. They were all elected in the first year of eligibility. Um, you know, Pernell Whitaker, just as well as Mildred Taylor, they said they were burnt on the fight against not De La Hoya, but I went blank. Sorry, people. The fight with Chavez Sr. Jeez. Anyways, Pernell Whitaker was part of that Olympic team in '84 with I believe it was let me see what I can find out. I think '84, right? Was in '84 he was in Olympics. Let me see. Olympic team, '84 gold medalist. Yeah. Um, I know it was I know it was there was some big name guys there. Let me see. Um, I want to say it was I want to say it was 1984. I want to say it was Holyfield and them, right? I believe. Let me see. Oh, so here we go. It was Mark Breland. There you go. That's what I was trying to remember. Mark Breland, Frank Tate, Jerry Page. Um, let's see. I think Holyfield was there too. Tyrell Biggs, right? Tyrell Biggs, Henry Tillman, Vander Holyfield. Yeah, they were also on that team. Um, so Holyfield obviously became a champion. Mark Breland became a champion. You know what I mean? Henry Tillman, I don't know. I know he was a contender. Tyrell Biggs was a contender. He got smashed up a little bit by Tyson and a few other guys. But Pernell Whitaker had such a sweet, that's why they called him Sweet Pete. He had such a sweet science. His defense was impeccable. It was uh, it was hard to get on him. It was hard. So when you got a guy that, like he was dropped by Mayweather, Roger Mayweather, he was dropped a few different times, but this guy, his defense was awesome. I mean, guys would literally throw 6, 8 punches, 10 punches at him in a row, and they would miss every one of them. He was able to duck and do all kinds of animated things, and you know what I mean. And you know, it, fast forward, there's always those questions. What happens if this guy, Muhammad Ali fight Mike Tyson? Who would win? So you hear that about Mayweather and Sweet Pete. What would happen if they fought at lightweight? What would happen if they fought at junior welterweight? You know what I mean? What would happen if they fought at welterweight? I think welterweight. By the time he got to welterweight, he was already starting to go downhill. His skills wasn't as uh, just the older age thing. But at lightweight 135, he was pretty darn good. But they say the greatest lightweight fighter of all time is Roberto Duran. But there's so many. There's just so many boxers that are just bad men. Shut your mouth. But I'm only talking about Sweet Pea. You know what I mean? But he was definitely bad. Roger Mayweather had his moments. He won a couple world titles, and then he got those other type of belts, those IBOs, IBCs, WBUs. You know what I mean? which most people don't recognize. You know what I mean? I know Vinny Pazienza, when they say he's a 3-time world champion or whatever, or how many times they call him, one of those belts is like a WBU. Same thing with Camacho. He claims one of those belts as a world champion. You know what I mean? But you can't, though. When you got guys that don't even consider the WBA regular belt a major title, how the heck you want to call a WBC or WBO title, or not, excuse me, a WBU or a IBO or IBC title as a world title? You know, you can't. So I'm going to wrap this one up. That being said, Big Lou's going to tap on out. Appreciate everybody that comes and watches the video after it's uploaded by YouTube. Again, if it's the first time you're coming to the channel, it'd be highly appreciated if you sub, liked, and shared the channel. And feel free to leave a comment. I'm reaching out to a lot of different people and hoping to get some networking done here. And shouts out to Sticks from Stay Awake TV, Big Weavy from Doing Time with Big Weavy, um, Rick from Vegas Prison Stories, Buzz from Yard Recall with Buzz, Jay Williams with Let's Live Live, Big Lance from Off the Yard, Sea Dog and Cooper Chepe from Sea Dog and Cooper Show podcast, excuse me. Dankin' and Drankin', all the boys. Y'all know who you are. Flacco, Converse Perspective, Boxer and Sandman from Paradigm Media News. With that being said, Big Lou's gone.